Okay, all right, so I'll do that.
How's everybody doing this evening? Nobody can hear me, I guess.
We can hear you. We're just on mute. I'm doing well, thank you. Just printing out my scripts because I'm in the office, not at my other office set up for the meetings.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, good evening, Council President.
Okay, Miss Harley. Okay. Look at her.
The meeting will please come to order. Hello, everyone. My name is Trippy Congo, Council President. Today is Thursday, May the 20th. On behalf of Council, I just want to thank everyone for joining us for this evening's Council meeting. We will begin with an opening prayer by Akira, Granada.
Heavenly Father, we have assembled to handle the affairs of our city. As we do so, we ask for your guidance and understanding. We pray that our city reaches a place of peace and safety. Keep us out of harm's way and bless those who are in authority. Let respect be key in all our endeavors. Amen.
Amen. At this time, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag
flag
United
of
States,
the
United States of America,
Republic for which it
and
to the republic
republic for
which
which
it stands, one nation,
nation,
God.
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty and
and
justice for all.
justice for all.
The clerk will please call the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Present.
Councilwoman Darby,
Present.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Present.
Councilwoman Harley,
Present.
Councilwoman Fields,
Present.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Here.
Councilman Johnson,
Here.
Councilman Field,
Present.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Present.
Councilwoman Dixon,
Present.
Councilman Spadola,
Present.
Councilwoman Walsh,
Here.
President Congo,
Here.
13 present.
Thank you. At this time, we will have the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting.
May 6, 2021, City Council met in virtual regular session, the above date at 6:30 p.m. President Ernest M. Congo II presiding. The opening prayer was done by Akira, Granada, Deputy City Clerk. The Pledge of Allegiance was recited by City Council.
I move that the minutes be accepted as written.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the minutes be accepted as written. On the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. This time we'll have our committee reports.
May 17, 2021, present members of council, City of Wilmington, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee by virtual meeting, to whom was referred ordinance number 21016 entitled, an ordinance establishing a rate of taxation on real property and taxable property of public utilities for the fiscal year July 1, 2021 through June 20th, 2022. Given this June 30th, 2022. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilwoman Harley, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilwoman Walsh, Councilman Spadola, and President Congo.
I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed. Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the committee report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
May 17, 2021, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee by virtual meeting, to was referred substitute number 1 to ordinance number 21017 entitled, an ordinance to adopt a capital program for the 6 fiscal years 2022 through 2027 inclusive. Have given this substitute ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilwoman Harley, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilwoman Walsh, Councilman Spadola, and President Congo.
I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed. Second.
And properly moved and second that the committee report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
May 17, 2021, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee by virtual meeting, to was referred substitute number 1 to ordinance number 21018 entitled, an ordinance to adopt a capital budget for the fiscal year 2022. Have given this substitute ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilwoman Harley, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilwoman Walsh, Councilman Spadola, and President Congo.
I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed. Second.
It's been properly moved that the committee report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
May 17, 2021, we, your Finance Committee and Economic Development Committee, Weir Finance and Economic Development Committee by virtual meeting to was referred. Substitute number 1 to ordinance number 21019 entitled, an ordinance adopting the annual operating budget for the fiscal year beginning on July 1, 2021 and ending on June 30th, 2022. I've given this substitute ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilwoman Harley, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilwoman Walsh, Councilman Spadola, and President Congo.
I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved that the committee report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
May 17, 2021, Weir Finance and Economic Development Committee by virtual meeting to was referred ordinance number 21020 entitled, an ordinance to amend chapter 45 of the city code regarding sewer system rates and charges, water rates and charges, and storm water rates and charges for fiscal year 2022. I've given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilwoman Harley, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilwoman Walsh, Councilman Spadola, and President Congo.
I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the committee report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
And please, the committee reports, President Congo.
All right, thank you. At this time, we will have the city treasurer's report.
May 20th, 2021, total investment, $466,795,394.82. Total cash on hand, $14,457,603.62. Grand total, $481,252,998.44. Dwayne Sims, City Treasurer.
I move the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I'll accept the motion to move to accept all non-legislative business.
So move.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that we accept all non-legislative business. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. At this time, we do have some resolutions that want to be some recognitions. But first, from all of council, we do have some sympathy recognitions. Mr. Jermaine V. Black. Also, we want to offer our condolences and sympathy to Pierre Samuel DuPont IV. Excuse me. Do any council members have any other recognitions? Just before that, I'm sorry. Also, Councilwoman Oliver has sympathy recognition for Keith Wallace and also for Sonia Walston. All right. Do any council members have anything to present?
Council President,
Yes, Council Member Spadola.
I have one sympathy resolution as well.
Okay, you do. I apologize for, thank you. From Council Member Spadola, we have a sympathy recognition for Dr. Benjamin Coleman Caldwell. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Council President, I believe I have a resolution recognizing one of City Council's policy interns.
Yes, you may proceed.
All right. Do we have Jake on the line? I can't see from here. Is Jake on now?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. All right. I have a resolution honoring City Council's policy intern, Jake. Whereas it is the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and are deserving of recognition and acknowledgement. Whereas City Council is proud to recognize Jake McGowan, who is a University of Delaware volunteer policy intern, and he's been with us since November 2020 through May 2021. Jake lives in Interlaken, New Jersey, and attends the University of Delaware. He is a member of the SAE fraternity and also demonstrates a strong commitment to community service, as evidenced by his work with UD Dance, the B Plus Foundation, and other campus-based initiatives. Jake is currently a senior, getting ready to graduate, and he majors in political science. He volunteered to help support the research and policy work of City Council while graduating with a BA degree. He worked regularly on the weekly schedule, completed assignments in a timely and professional manner, and volunteered for additional responsibilities. Whereas he also attended his university classes and worked with City Council virtually, he always turned on his camera and was dressed appropriately and was attentive and engaged during discussions, asked questions, and was there to help when needed. He was an integral part of the research and policy team during his time of council, and he will be sorely missed. Now be it resolved by the council of the City of Wilmington that this council is pleased to commend Jake McGowan for the outstanding commitment and dedication of service that he provided to Wilmington City Council and our local community. And we applaud you, Jake. I know you came to us very highly recommended by a colleague of mine in Washington, D.C. And you have never let us down, especially during, I believe, a tough time for City Council and the city as a whole. We didn't run our normal internship program, and I believe, you being so adaptable and willing to work with us during this very trying year is a testament to you. So kudos to you, and I appreciate and looking forward to what's next. And Jake, do you have any words for us?
Yes, I do. Ladies and gentlemen of the council, I would like to just take this time to thank you guys for bestowing this honor upon me, as well as thank my team of Marshall Basnight, Daniel Walker, Raina Allen, and Dakota Edwards for providing guidance and direction on how to improve my work for the council. It's been a great privilege serving under you all and providing help to the people of Wilmington, and I appreciate the opportunity that was presented to me. Thank you.
We appreciate it, Jake, and we hope you're not a stranger. We hope you come back to the community in some fashion soon enough. Does any members of council have any comments or I believe Council President?
Yes, thank you, Councilman Johnson. Yeah, I just want to thank you, Jake, for all of your hard work and for volunteering. Makes you a really special person. I'm not sure if that definitely hasn't passed on anyone on council or our team up here, that you were here voluntarily and you did an outstanding job. So we just want to wish you the best in the future. Thank you for everything.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jake. And I believe you'll receive a copy of the resolution in the mail. So we definitely look forward to seeing you again soon enough. All right.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Our Council President, I believe that concludes my non-legislative business.
All right, thank you, Councilman Johnson. Do any other council members have any presentations? If not, I don't see where anyone has signed up for public comment. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. On WITN, did anyone sign up for?
Mr. President, this is Daniel Walker. We have no signups for public comment at this time.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Walker. At this time, we will, we'll move to legislative business. And just to accommodate everyone's schedule, we are going to go just a little bit out of order. Now, first, I'm going to call on Council Member Cabrera.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do have a resolution to present, and that would be Resolution 0063. It's a resolution to authorizing the mayor to file the fiscal year 2022 annual action plan budget with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, including funding for the Community Development Block Grant Program, the Home Investments Partnership Program, the Emergency Solutions Grants Program, and the Housing.
I'm sorry. You have to present the resolution first. I have to read it into the record and somebody has to move it and second it.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, let me do that. Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Thank you. Resolution 21-030, Agenda 0063. Whereas the City of Wilmington is an entitlement community for purposes of the Community Development Block Grant, the Home Investment Partnership Program, the Emergency Solutions Grant Program, and the Housing Opportunity for Persons with AIDS Program. And whereas the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development regulations require a consolidated application process for funds for the CDBG program, the Home Program, the ESG program, and HOPWA program. And whereas City Council desires for the city to participate in the consolidated plan. And whereas the city fiscal year 2022 corresponds with the federal fiscal year 2021.
I move that the resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote. On the question?
Mr. President, this resolution is really a formality for the administration to go ahead and file this fiscal year annual action plan to make sure that we have the funding and these grants for these different programs.
Thank you. Council Member Gray.
Thank you, Mr. President. As Councilwoman Cabrera pointed out, the HUD's Fund CDBG is primarily to promote fair housing, affordable fair housing. And this is a good start, but what is missing is down payment loan program, down payment settlement loan program. And I've spoken to the mayor and he seems to be in agreement with it, but I haven't seen any results. So I don't think I can support this resolution for that reason. So I must say, this came to my attention when I saw a meeting of the national meeting of the real estate brokers, and they brought up that Wilmington did not have a down payment settlement loan program, and they were very critical about it. And so then after that, HUD released an analysis to impediments to fair housing for 2020, and in HUD's analysis for the state of Delaware, they reported that Wilmington was a segregated city with low access to opportunity. They also said the same thing in 2011, so we really haven't changed anything much. They also said there's only 30% home ownership in Wilmington. HUD suggests programs to remove structural barriers to fair housing and to give opportunities to marginalized groups. And everyone should know that wealth disparities primarily are due to lack of home ownership. Also, I think most of us who have attempted to buy a house or bought a house know that down payment is like the biggest impediment to going forward to home ownership. And home ownership is one of the things that does away with the disparities between the white communities and the Black and brown communities. So it's a program that is budget neutral. It's usually taken from the CDBG funds. It only takes a couple $100,000. It was supported by HOND, H-O-N-D, a counseling program for people trying to purchase homes. So I think it's a really good program. And because of HUD should be used for affordable housing, I think this would help Wilmington citizens, give them initiative to want to live in Wilmington, for other people who want to come into it. And it really works with the mayor's stabilization program. So that's just my input as to where we are and what I think the city needs. And down payment settlement loan program is just one of the programs that HUD suggested that Wilmington needed to employ to change the segregation in the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Gray. Councilmember Cabrera, did you want to respond or call anyone from the administration to respond to?
No, I can't respond unless there's any other council members that have any other comments, since I'll be the last to speak. If there's anyone, great. If not, then I'll go ahead and.
Did you? Okay. I don't see anyone's with their hand raised.
Okay. So yes, Council Member Gray presented an excellent point. Back in the day, And I remember because 29 years ago, when I bought my first house, I did it with the down payment assistance that the Wilmington Housing Partnership provided. At that time, it was an initiative started by Mayor Sills. It included Leonard Quill from Wilmington Trust and other banks that came on board. Through the years, the program was supported. What I was able to research is that currently many of the banks have these programs, so they don't feel a need to give the money to the city and to support this program. However, that should not stop the city from doing its own program. And in a conversation yesterday with personnel from the land bank as well as Mr. Gessner, we feel that we should still go back to these banks and ask them if they would participate in us bringing this program back again, and that the city could also take some funding and put that back into the program. So where we stand right now is one of the reasons that the program is no longer in existence is because the city then faced deficits and we just didn't have the funding to continue with the program. But I do agree, it is something that should be funded. The administration is open to it. And to answer Councilmember Gray, it is not ready and prepared to present it as part of this resolution. However, I would hope that you would vote for this resolution. We can certainly work on that program and get that up and running. We're so close, with the budget getting passed this evening, hopefully. But we should also not hold up the funding that is allotted for this particular program for the organizations here that are mentioned, because this funding does provide housing for all these people, not just, we understand we need to encourage more home ownership and investment in Wilmington. I'm with you 100%, and we're going to work on this together. But I would hope that council members do vote for this, because look at all the organizations, if we weren't to pass this tonight, where we would hold up this funding. But you make a clear statement, and I want to say that I'm in agreement with you. There are others that are in agreement with you, and the administration is open into now, with those ARP funds, being able to set aside some money for some first-time home buyer down payment assistance programs.
I thank you, Councilmember Cabrera. I know that we have Bob Weir with us. Is he?
Oh my God.
Is he?
hand up.
Okay. Is he able to speak to the process of what Member Gray is concerned about? Like how would that happen? What is that process? If you don't mind, Councilmember Cabrera, can Bob Weir speak from Real Estate and Housing speak to that?
I believe Mr. Weir was going to be on the.
I'm on.
Yeah.
Okay, there you
I'm not
go.
sure.
Is there anything else you would like to add, Director Weir, to explain how this program works and how these fundings, why we need to do this, please? Thank you.
Councilwoman, I thought you had a very thorough and complete explanation. I think that when you talk about the many things that go into homeownership, down payment settlement assistance is absolutely one of them. As far as I think you're also spot on that the administration has been discussing this as a need and has really targeted the American Rescue Plan funds as a source for these funds. When you look at the other areas that are functioning at a high level, that the state of Delaware through their DSHA program has a very robust down payment settlement assistance program. And that's in talking with the mayor and discussing going forward that as you have already mentioned, the administration is open to putting funds into this program and assisting low income and people of color, the accessibility to buy their home and to have assistance at the settlement table.
Thank you, Director Weir.
Yes, thank you. Council Member, I believe, Councilmember Gray, did you have your hand raised? I don't see where any other council members have their hands raised. I just want to.
I had my hand raised, and I had a discussion with Mr. Weir, and I said with the mayor, and everyone seems to be in agreement that we need this program, but it could have been included, and most other jurisdictions that have them, because just about the larger jurisdictions in the state of Delaware have it. It comes under the CDBG funds. So it really is no cost to the city. It is a budget neutral type of program. And we've been discussing it for several days. So I really didn't see any big impediment to just adding it to the list of CBDG programs. So unfortunately, too many promises are made that aren't followed through with. So that's just my comment. But yes, I've talked to Mr. Weir and to the mayor, and they do seem to be supportive of this type of program. And the banks are redlining. They are not giving money for certain areas. That's the reason that really Wilmington needs to have their own down payment settlement loan program. It is true that if you want to move into certain areas, banks will give you that money. But that's not true for all areas or all homes. There's just a lot of impediments when you go through other institutions because the state has a program, the county has a program, Dover has one, Newark has one, but we need one for our city. That's all I have to say. Thank you. And thank you, Councilmember Cabrera, for your input, but I'm not trusting, I'm sorry. Not you, but just that the fact it'll happen and the money will be put there because we have the money now with all the funds we're getting from the Rescue Act. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. No, I was just going to echo what Councilwoman Cabrera said. I have two individuals who were looking for down payments and they went through the YMCA and one did go through the bank. So as she said, there is money out there. The bank is definitely giving out money. And because of COVID, I guess I don't want to repeat everything she said. Because of COVID, we are in a deficit. So I would hope that we would and not vote for this. I mean, these are really some good organizations that really can use this help. So I will be voting for this tonight. I don't think we should hold up one thing because everybody's not included. And I think, even though the point is well taken. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Oliver. Just want to make sure no other council members have their
Council
hand.
President,
Yes, Councilmember Walsh.
I'm having trouble putting up my hand. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem.
Yes, I think we've already discussed this. This is a budget hearing. This is a council meeting. This is not a budget hearing. It's a council meeting. I think this was already previously discussed and should be discussed again in the future. But tonight we should be focusing our attention on this bill. And I think it's a good bill and I think we should pass it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Walsh. Do any other council members have any comments before we return back to Councilmember Cabrera?
Thank you very much. I just want to add that even for us to make any changes, even if the administration said we want to add those down payment assistance funds, we are just now talking about, in fact, next week, we're going to have a meeting to discuss the rescue funds, the ARP funds, the American Relief Plan. So there would have been time to put it in, and plus it would have to go to committee before we make any of these changes, which is a formality. But again, I would just say that holding this up would hold up funding for all these other programs. It's not about not trusting and promises. It is a work in progress and it is something we can do. And I will just reiterate what Director Weir did say, and I'm speaking from firsthand experience because I'm going through the process of buying a home, that there is generous funding from DSHA with no limitations in anywhere in Wilmington that you could buy in addition to the bank program. But Council Member Gray and others, I will tell you right now that I will be working very diligently on this with my council colleagues. Councilwoman Gray, excellent point that you brought up. And at this point, let's just vote.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Gray,
Present.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dixon,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Walsh,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes,
12 yeas and 1 present.
declared adopted. Now we will return to our regular order. Councilmember Gray.
Sorry, nothing tonight, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Darby.
Nothing tonight, President.
Thank you. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and the second reading.
Ordinance 21028, Agenda 0062, an ordinance to authorize and approve contract 22011 PW between the City of Wilmington and James River Solutions for gasoline, heating, oil, and diesel fuel.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to authorize and approve contract 22011 PW between the City of Wilmington and James River Solutions for gasoline, heating oil, and diesel fuel.
Second reading of the ordinance.
I move that this be known for the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Public Works and Transportation Committee on the 24th.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that this be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Public Works and Transportation Committee.
That would be all, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Oliver. Councilmember Harley.
No legislation to present tonight, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Fields.
No legislation tonight, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember McCoy.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, Mr. President. I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 21016, Agenda 0038, an ordinance establishing a rate of taxation on real property and a taxable property of public utilities for the fiscal year July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2022.
At this time, Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea, nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Council and the public, this is the first of the few items on the agenda regarding passing this year's fiscal year 22 budget. This ordinance specifically sets the property tax rate for the fiscal year based on the certification by the Board of Assessment. The key takeaway is that there is no proposed change to the tax rate. Tax rate has been changed in the past, but given we're still getting out of pandemic and we have ARP funds coming in, we decided to, administration wisely along with council, has decided that no property rate increase is in store this year. So that's some good news. And I hope all of my colleagues can support it as we look to rebuild our neighborhoods.
Any comment on council? All right, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dixon,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Walsh, Councilwoman Walsh,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
13 yeas.
Declared adopted. Councilman Johnson.
Mr. President, I have another ordinance to present, call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 21017, Agenda 0039, an ordinance to adopt a capital program for the 6 fiscal years 2022 through 2027 inclusive.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause, the ordinance, and call for a yea, nay vote.
Excuse me, we have a
Second.
substitute.
Oh, sorry. Getting ahead of myself. Okay.
Substitute number 1 to ordinance number 21017, revision 1 to agenda 0039, an ordinance to adopt a capital program for the 6 fiscal years 2022 through 2027 inclusive. Thank you.
At this time, Mr. President, I move this be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea-nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the enacting clause of the substitute ordinance and call for a yea nay vote on the question.
This time, Mr. President, this is the first of the budget bills. This is specifically dealing with the city's fiscal 6-year capital program for the years 2022 through 2027. The total price based on this plan is approximately $288 million. This is an estimate just necessary between the administration and council as to what the needs of rebuilding our city are. So it comes from street projects, parks, investments in departments of technology, the necessary infrastructure investment that we need to keep our city running. So there's a lot in there, but it really is what's needed to move our city forward. The good news is, I believe Congress has a potential infrastructure plan coming. So we may get some more assistance and some more dollars in this fund. But for now, this is the substitute ordinance to move our city forward.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Johnson. I don't see any hands raised. Make sure. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Present.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dixon,
Yes.
Councilman Spadolo,
Yes.
Councilman Walsh,
Yes,
President Congo.
Yes,
12 yeas and 1 present.
declared adopted.
And Mr. President, I do have another ordinance to present, and I call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 21018, agenda 0040, an ordinance to adopt a capital budget for the fiscal year 2022. Substitute.
I believe this is a substitute ordinance as well.
Yes, thank you. Substitute number 1 to ordinance number 21018, revision 1 to agenda number 0040, an ordinance to adopt a capital budget for fiscal year 2022.
All right, Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea-nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the substitute ordinance and call for a yea nay vote on the question.
This substitute ordinance enacts the fiscal year 2022 capital budget in amount of $99 million. So this is it's been a process to get here. It's been a collaboration between administration, city council, all city council members, and then also looking at the needs that we need for the capital plan. So as I just mentioned in the previous ordinance, investment in our parks and streets has been a priority, and also our neighborhoods. So I believe city council's vision is aligned with administration's, and we have to put more money back directly into our communities. So I believe this capital program gets us going forward, and again, we hope that the additional federal funds that we'll be talking about later this month and in the future will help bolster this plan. This time, I don't know if there's anybody from the administration that has anything to chime in on regarding the capital budget.
Oh, let's do it.
Just want to remind council members to please keep your mics muted. Thank you. Excuse me, Councilman Johnson.
Okay, if there's any questions, if there's no question or comments, I would ask for a roll call vote.
I don't see any council members having their hands raised. So at this time, going to clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
No.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dixon,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Walsh,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
12 yeas and 1 nay.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 21019, agenda 0041, an ordinance adopting the annual operating budget for the fiscal year beginning on July 1, 2021 and ending on June 30th, 2022. Now the substitute.
Yes.
In lieu of that one, substitute number 1 to ordinance number 21019, revision 1 to agenda 0041, an ordinance adopting the annual operating budget for the fiscal year beginning on July 1, 2021 and ending on June 30th, 2022.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yay/nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the substitute ordinance and called for a yea and nay vote. On the question?
All right, I'm going to make this fairly succinct. This has been one of the most trying years, I believe, in the city of Wilmington's history. But I believe City Council, we have done our duty and rose to the occasion, along with administration, to come through with a fiscally responsible budget. This general budget is presented tonight, totals $172.6 million. This is a $9 million increase over the prior year budget. And the increase is due to personal services increase of $2.5 million, which had 2% COLA increases for hardworking city employees. MS&E increased $3 million. And this is due to wage tax collection efforts, increase a $265,000 increase for body cameras, software, motor vehicle costs, and clean teams. So again, back into justice in our community, stabilizing our neighborhoods. So that is a big bulk, $3 million there. And debt service also increased by $3.3 million. The key to remember with this budget is we still do have structural issues in city councils. I mean, the city in general, as we come out of the pandemic, and our businesses, will, along with us, will be going through trying times. We did have to tap $6 million of the tax rate stabilization fund to balance the budget due to continued shortfall in revenues, and this must be addressed in the future. We had a 0% tax city rate, property tax increase, as I alluded to earlier, and this is what big picture what's in the budget. If you drill down to it, we have continued funding for the programs that we already have, so we didn't cut back any programs. For the Clean Teams Streets program, we have over $700,000 there, which is a $300,000 increase. And this is marked mainly to stabilize and get our neighborhoods, because if our neighborhoods aren't cleaner, safer, nicer, then crime continue to fester in the deepest parts of our city. So that, I believe, is a wise investment. We have $500,000 for the Wilmington Land Bank. And we have a commitment from the administration to revamp and diversify the land bank. And I believe this is a win-win for all. The land bank is the main entity that is funded by both the city and the state to stabilize our neighborhoods. This is a drop in the bucket. More money is going to need to be put in the land bank, and we hope to have that additional federal aid that can help foster the land bank. But for now, $500,000 is all we can afford. We had investments in city park renovations. We had additional funding of over $100,000 just to extend pool hours and how late pools are open during the summer. Again, simply to keep our youth engaged. We had neighborhood stabilization funds, year-round youth workforce investment. And those are then the programs that were existing last fiscal year. Now, in terms of new programs, to name a few, we have, for the first time, we have a gun violence prevention program, $300,000 investment by the administration to seriously look at and combat gun violence from a non-law enforcement perspective. This initiative will be coordinated between the City Council and Mayor's office. This is not a Wilmington police initiative. This is this is from a perspective of gun violence and treatment perspective. So we can really get at the heart of what is causing the violence in our neighborhoods. So this is a big deal and a tremendous, I believe, initiative, and that would be a collaboration between the City Council and administration. We also have $50,000 in funding for a Citizens Review Board panel. From day one, President Congo has stressed what the vision of City Council is, and one is accountability for our police department. From body cameras to citizen review, Wilmington is stepping up and taking these initiatives head on. We know there's a few more steps that need to be taken in Dover, and those are in the works right now. So we are ready, willing, and able to have a fully effective board as these pieces line up. And the most important thing is funding, because a lot of cities didn't fund police boards and they're not effective. And we want to make sure we're investing in an effective board that can really, again, create accountability on the ground for law enforcement. And then lastly, there was an investment of $40,000 for strengthening our neighborhood planning councils, which is a need from every section of the city to make sure it's truly working with our planning department, so that the NPCs have the know-how and just the information so they can best utilize funds to stabilize our neighborhoods. Key point of this budget is that it does not budget and factor in ARP funding. And you've probably heard me say this many times. I can reiterate again, this is a process that's going to take place outside of this budget process. The water sewer fund budget was $80 million, and this is a $1.7 million increase over prior year budget, simply because maintaining our clean water in Wilmington gets more and more expensive every year. The water sewer rates increased by 3%, and stormwater rates increased by 2%. Now, this is something that somehow becomes a political issue, but it really shouldn't. Investment in clean water in our citizens is a vital need. And the impact for our normal customers will be about a $1.75 increase for a city customer who uses 4,000 gallons of water, sewer, and services per month. This is a $1.53 monthly increase for county customer. This is the first water rate increase in 7 years, or a stormwater rate increase in 7 years. And again, this is something that we can't keep kicking the can down the road. Unfortunately, this is an area where the federal government has luckily provided funds. We have CARES Act funds that can help the water bills of our low-income and senior residents. So this is a key facet that those who cannot afford to pay will be able to utilize these subsidy programs. You'll be hearing more about this as we go through and actually increase funding for that program. So in all, I just believe this is a very tight budget, but I believe it's very important and monumental budget that we're investing in areas we didn't necessarily focus on before. So with that, I ask first if there's anyone from the administration that wishes to give any comments on the operating budget.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right? Because normally we all be in person for this. So, all right. Well, if no one from the administration is available at this time, then I'll turn it to council for any comments or questions.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Darby.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to share my thoughts about the city budget and some things I think are really great that are happening, but I'm more worried about how it will be implemented. There's a lot of vagueness in having these conversations where we're saying that all districts will benefit from, for example, like neighborhood stabilization and cleanup, but that's not guaranteed. And based on the history of the city and what the administration focus on, we see that if it's not downtown, riverfront, or West Center City, that there is little to no investment happening. So I'm just concerned about the lack of, for me, of other than the just clear lack of investment happening in other parts of the city. And I also want to point out that there's still going to be $50,000 for flowers and water in Rodney Square. That is going to be annual. I need people to know that there are places that are ran down, parks our kids can't go to. Some of our kids aren't eating, families are struggling, and we're putting $50,000 into Rodney Square for flowers and water, where the businesses wanted it, not the people. Also, you have $21,000 for food for a holiday party for employees when we don't even have adequate family paid leave. And there's people who get paid who are temporary employees or permanent or in city employees who get paid under $15 an hour for livable wage. And we talk about a holiday party to make people feel good for a moment when we don't even believe in basic things for people having livable wages and being able to take care of their families. We also had a between almost $13,000 in salary and benefit increase for mayor and city treasurer during a pandemic, where it was not, this is a tradition. It is not something that had to happen, but it's a tradition that is being followed and that they're going to continue to do. So I can keep going. But those are just a few examples of what I think is just inappropriate spending. I don't see clear investment happening across the city. I don't think the administration can be trusted based on its history. And I'm just concerned about funds being equitably allocated to improve, engage, and educate all Wilmington residents, not just those investing or living on the riverfront or on Market Street. And I think just as a city, like, we just have to work harder to track the impact of our dollars. You have a Wilmington Fire Department where they're not even accredited, like that wasn't in the budget. They're not invested into a youth program, the Fire Explorer program. We got this thought of program that they think they might invest into to try to get more women engaged into the firefighting world and learning more about the career. Then you have Wilmington PD. We don't have a community response team. They keep saying they use someone on the state level. And that still hasn't been, I asked questions, that still hasn't been explained or fully explained on what they do to help the homeless population, mental health. I get complaints that homeless people are being harassed by Wilmington PD. People with mental health issues are being harassed by Wilmington PD. Just downtown in the riverfront, they built up a fence where people were using to tent out to find shelter. Instead of finding help for them, they tore down the homes and built a fence they can't there anymore. So that it's just really concerning that we're acting like this budget is all roses and it's not. There's a lot of holes in it, a lot of things that have not been addressed. And I can't be for something like this, but I think it's great, some of the things that's happening, but I'm worried about implementation of a lot of these things. You can have money towards gun violence, but what does implement look like, especially when we as a city council come at things from a public safety issue when we're talking about gun violence, when it's actually a public health issue, right? So that just the very foundation in that is off. And I just think that it's just really unfortunate that we're Wilmington City Council, one of the leading cities, and that we are not addressing major issues that are happening in our city. And we give people little things that make them feel good for a moment, like, oh, we're going to give you summertime and extend hours for the pools to make them feel good. But then when we get down to deep systemic issues, they're not being addressed. So thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to talk.
Thank you, Councilmember Darby. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say I just think that this budget is really good for the whole city. I know during the budget hearing, that was the time that we all shared our thoughts. But right now, this is at the we are over the finish line, and everything that you have expressed to all of us, along with the administration and the chair. I mean, I have to agree. I just think we've done an outstanding job. We are addressing gun violence. I mean, everything in the budget's not going to be right. It never is. But one thing about the budget, it is for the citizens of the city of Wilmington. And I have to give credit where credit's due, Mr. President. I thought you've done an outstanding job with your negotiations with the administration to get a lot of things that I have and that I've never seen done on city council. And that is especially right now, addressing the gun violence, and the mayor addressing some of the blight and the neighborhood stabilization, along with Maria Cabrera. I mean, words can't express the work that I think we have all done to get this administration to listen to us. And we did it in the front and not in the back. So we all been at the table from day one, negotiating back and forth. So for me, I have to say, I think all the city council members have done an outstanding job with getting most of the things that we wanted in this budget. And this budget is the biggest thing that we vote on, and it's for the city of Wilmington. And I have to tell the residents, me, myself, and I, and this is my opinion, I think all of city council should be patting itself on the back. No, it's not perfect, but I think this being your first term, you've done a darn good job. And I gotta give credit what's credit's due. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Oliver. Councilmember Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do compliment everyone for the fruitful negotiations that were done to reach this budget, and there are some very positive things in it. But I have to agree with Councilwoman Darby, and I'm glad she's, I hate to use the term, but woke. There are even more things that she didn't mention that really should get some priority. But I do agree the gun violence and the civilian review board are excellent starts. I do have my concerns too about how it's going to be implemented or what the programs are going to be, but I guess that's the work council has to do. So I thank everyone, but I'm glad someone's looking at the minutia, and that we are really on some points missing the big, what do they say, missing the trees for the forest, or missing the forest for the trees in some issues. So thank you.
And thank you, Councilmember Gray. Councilmember Harley.
Well, thank you, Council President. I do think that most of the thoughts that I had have already been expressed, but I will say that I have to agree with my council colleagues as it relates to those that feel this way, that this has definitely been a very, I would say, very balanced budget. I appreciate the discussions. I appreciate the input, the time that we've all taken to ask the questions with all the different directors. We had our the chief of staff for the administration was available. I just really think that this particular budget year is an excellent start to us, both branches of government, balancing what we call true democracy as it relates to thinking about everybody in the city of Wilmington. We have everybody in the city of Wilmington that we have to consider. And again, is there room for improvement? Absolutely. But I do believe that we are definitely off on a good start. And I think this is just an opportunity for those of us that want to continue to have the conversations as it relates to housing, as it relates to crime, as it relates to more equitable services, education. And even though we don't have the level of authority to make major decisions, we can continue with the conversation. So this is not the end. I see this as the beginning. And I want to congratulate all of our council body as well for how we have participated and how we've spoken up. We've used our voices. And we've done it in a very, very cordial, collective way. And I feel proud of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Harley. I'm not seeing any other hands raised. I'll just give my comments on the whole budget process at this time. Yeah, we did as a council, we got a lot of things accomplished during this budget hearing. I wouldn't dare take the credit for getting any one particular thing done or getting the whole process done. We did it as a team. Everything that we want in here is definitely not in here. And I guess during my time as on council, I've always tried to stress the importance of this budget process and how council really needs to be one council and and vote accordingly to what has been implemented in the in the budget. Like, this is our time. I mean, the budget is probably going to pass, most likely going to pass, but it's not a perfect budget. I think that it could be. I know some council members think that it never will be, but I think that we could have done just a little more. And I guess I'm struggling because there are so many great things that are a part of this budget, like Council Member Johnson brought to our attention. But there's also some things that we really need to work on, like Council Member Darby brought to our attention. And I've always thought that if we don't do it now, when do we do it? It's okay to try to say that we can do it down the road or we can negotiate, but that's never happened since I've been on council, or it's rarely happened since I've been on council. So if there are things that that we're not pleased about, that we think should be in the budget, or things that should be addressed, and I don't think that we should support the budget. Now, that's always been my stance. And maybe being in the seat, it may seem that I should think differently, but it's hard for me to think differently just as the president. I've always thought that our police department and our fire departments have a tremendous way to go, a long way to go, and as far as in making sure that things are done fairly and that that diversity is at the top, is one of the top of their priorities. I do have concerns that there were raises from the mayor and from the treasurer. That is something that could have been addressed, but it wasn't. So I'm probably not going to support the budget, and I know that that may disappoint some, but it's hard for me just to kind of change who I am. I've never been a politician, quote unquote. I've always been here just to do what I thought was best, and I believe that everybody who's going to vote is going to do what they think is best. But I have a lot of concerns with it, and I do every time, every budget season. I always have a lot of concerns. That's why I pretty much always voted no for the budget, because I've never gone along just to get along, and I just have to kind of stay true to myself, true to those who have appreciated my time on council. Again, there's some great things. So it's a struggle, honestly, because there are the body cameras, this Citizens Review Board, the money that's going to be put in for the disparity study. Really great things, but there's not enough in my humble opinion. So I don't see any other hands raised at this time. So at this time, I'll ask for the clerk to call a roll.
Councilwoman Gray.
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby.
No.
Councilwoman Oliver.
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dixon,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Walsh,
Yes.
President Congo.
No.
11 yeas and 2 nays.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, the final item to present, I have an ordinance, a substitute, or no, it's just the regular ordinance, it's the original ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 21020, agenda 0042, an ordinance to amend chapter 45 of the city code regarding sewer system rates and charges, water rates and charges, and storm water rates and charges for fiscal year 2022.
At this time, Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause and call for a yea/nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea/nay vote. On the question.
Hey, this is, and I alluded to it during my opening for the operating budget, but this is, again, this is the ordinance setting this, the water and stormwater rates. It does call for a modest 3% increase, which is about $1.75 per month for the average citizen user. To put it short, if we don't invest now, continue to invest in this modest rate increases, then we'll get to a point in previous, as it's been in previous history, where you have a 21% increase some year, or you know, somehow some increase in the double digits. And at this time, we believe, and this is a rate that was recommended by a nonpartisan citizen-led group, the Citizens Advisory Board, that looks at water rates. This was the rate recommended by them. So this is not a political move. Council did not decide this rate. Administration did not decide. The Citizen Advisory Board just recommended this, and we're just adopting a recommendation that this is a rate we need to do to ensure that our water remains clean. And as I stated earlier, there is assistance over $200,000, and we're looking at adding more to the Water Assistance Fund through the CARES Act. So we have help for our citizens that are low income and seniors who can't afford their water bills right now. So, you know, it's the help is there, and it's thankful because of the help from the federal government. And if we don't do this increase, then we're just going to put our system more and more behind. And you can end up in a situation where, like Flint, Michigan. So again, wise investments, I believe, are what we should do, and investments in our infrastructure. And the hope is that in due time, we'll have federal assistance from the infrastructure plan, and we won't have to do rate increases at all. But until we get that help, we have to, unfortunately, kind of spread it out. So with that, I would just ask for my colleagues' support.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Darby.
So I was trying to unmute. Thank you, President. Yeah, I struggled with figuring out where I'm going to stand. Go downstairs. I struggled where I'm going to stand on supporting this piece of legislation, because we can call it modest all we want, but it's going to have an effect on people. But then at the same time, as someone, you know, I run my own nonprofit businesses. I'm my own, you know, I work for myself. I understand the importance of, you know, looking at the cost of things and figuring out, you know, where you need to go up to be able to balance your budget. So I just want to say that how I vote will reflect that. And I just wanted my residents and people to understand where I stood on that. And I also, we say it's a third party entity that made these recommendations. I just want to confirm that we're talking about the Citizens Advisory Board.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So the City Advisory Board, I keep hearing people call it a third party entity. When we read in the code or the charter or whatever this is, where it says that it comprised of 7 members to be appointed by the mayor to serve as the Economic and Financial Review and Advisory Board. So we're saying politics are out of it when members are appointed by the mayor. And it clearly says this here: 2 members shall be recommended by the president of city council to the mayor for appointment. 2 members shall be recommended by the county executive to the mayor for appointment. Elected and appointed officials and staff of the city government of the county government shall be excluded from membership in the CAB. Right. So I don't want to give false and misleading information to people like this is some third party entity making this decision. No, this is a advisory board created and appointed by the mayor. So these are people that are appointed by the mayor who are making these decisions. So I just wanted to make that point clear, but I still struggle as a person who understands business and then a person who also understands that this is going to have an impact on people's day-to-day life. And we keep calling it modest, and we can't call it modest because we don't know how it's going to affect people. We just have to say it's going to be a rate increase. That's it. Thank you, President. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Darby. Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Chair, wasn't this discussed in the committee meeting and isn't this known that it hadn't been a raise in 7 years?
The stormwater rates, there was a water rate increase. The stormwater rates weren't increased at the same time. So it's been 7 years, yes.
Right. And I'm a homeowner, and I've been a homeowner for almost 30 years. I'm not going to get into this because I think we discussed this at the committee meeting. At some point, we have to do what we have to do in the city of Wilmington. So as I stated before, we are residents here in the city of Wilmington. We don't want this to look like Chester. I hate to say that, Yolanda. I know you're going to get me. Or either over in Jersey. At some point, we got to keep our city looking halfway decent. And I think we discussed this at the committee meeting, but thank you. Okay. Thank you.
And just to clarify the record, last year we did not increase. Last year's budget due to the pandemic, 0% increase.
That's my point, Mr. Chair. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Oliver. Councilmember Gray.
Yes, I'd like to state that this is an increase, but I don't think people realize how cheap water really is. And they may need to look into how a lot of areas' water systems are becoming polluted because of groundwater pollution and other things. And we have one of the better water systems, and it's crucial. Air and water are crucial to life. So unfortunately, we may have to raise the rates, but we need to maintain the quality of our water and be able to deliver it to the citizens. So this is a little price, believe it or not, to pay for that. And like I said, water is really dirt cheap. I don't remember what it is, a penny a glass or a penny a quart or something like that, but I'm supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Gray. Councilmember Oliver, did you have another comment?
Yes, I forgot to say either we increase it now or increase it later. And those who are appointed on the board, it is a third party entity, but no elected officials. So I like the public to know that. So, I mean, we have to trust somebody out there in Wilmington, Delaware. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Oliver. Councilmember Cabrera.
Yes, Council President. I didn't want to, make the meeting any longer by making too many comments, but I hope that people understand, especially those watching, when it comes to the budgetary process, when all of this, we have a duty, and that is our number one most important job as city council members, to pass a balanced budget. It's not always easy. We work very hard to do this, and not everyone's going to be happy, but it does take certain things to run a city and to fund the city, whether we like it or not. We don't always have to agree, but we have to make it work. And as far as the water sewer fund, Councilmember Oliver said it very clearly. You pay now or you pay later. And so far, we actually as a city have stabilized this and are doing very well to have the reserves that we need for when there is an emergency when it comes to our public sewer system. So, it's our responsibility to do this, whether we are in agreement with the increase or not. It has to be done. And it's better that it happens in increments than to hit people with an increase of a higher percentage later on. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Cabrera. Yes, I do agree with most of my colleagues that this is a necessity. We do have to. I believe our duty to support this increase in trusted professionals. And if we don't do it now, we're going to have to do it later, and it'll be a much higher percentage. So I think it's better to do it in smaller incremental steps. I think it'd be easier on our constituents um, that way than making a very, very large increase at a later date. So unfortunately, I think that this is a necessity. It's just like Councilwoman Correa just said, it's the cost of doing business. We have to make sure that our water systems are clean and they support our residents and our businesses. Councilmember Darby.
Yeah, thank you, Council President. I also want to add that with the increase happening, it's going to pass because they already have their 7. But with the increase happening, I just would really love to see, as a council, we hold the water department to accountable in the future to support water assistance or pay based off your income level paying. I know right now we have the COVID funding where we created a water fund program, but I'm talking about a one that is actually ran by the city to help people with their water bills. The city of Philadelphia has a great program where they're paying on different levels of tiers of your income. You pay a certain amount. They have assistance programs that's just not from a COVID relief fund, knowing that the city was basically going to pay themselves back. So I just want to make that clear that I hope that as a city council, as we're allowing this increase to happen every year, that we're also holding the water department accountable to making sure that they're helping people who are going to be affected by this. Thank you, Council
Thank
President.
you, Councilman Darby. Councilmember Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to point one thing out, because it's not the first hearing where I've heard that commissions or committees that the mayor puts together, people have problems with. All council member has to do, or any member of the public has to do, if they think they can bring something to the table to serve on one of our committees or commissions, is to call the mayor's office. If you're a council member, make a recommendation for somebody. If you're a member of the community, say who you are and say what you think you can bring to the table, and see whether or not you don't get an appointment very quickly. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Walsh. I don't see any other hands raised at this time. I'll give it back to Councilmember Johnson.
I don't have any further comments. I just ask for the support of council.
All right, thank you. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Mr. President, real quickly, I'm sorry, I couldn't find the hand. Can I just make one more comment? We just got something from our chief of staff that stated that the city just changed the income requirement for people to get assistance with paying their water bills. It went from, I think it was 120% poverty level to 200% poverty level. So we are trying to work with our community, especially during this, COVID pandemic, to make it accessible to get that assistance and monies to help them with their water bill. I'm sorry, I just wanted to add that.
That's okay. Thank you, Councilmember Darby.
I thought you called.
Yeah, so that is exactly what I said, that there's currently a COVID program helping people pay their water bills, but it's actually used through the CARES Fund money to fund that. So once the CARES Fund money ends, I hope that as a council, we will hold our city accountable to starting a water program to help people who need help. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Darby. Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Actually, that program is something I've been trying to relay that information to the administration. They have been working with me. They actually agreed that it was something that was necessary to increase that level of poverty from 165 to 200. And also they're working to actually increase the funding to the program so more people can apply and be able to get that utilities help. So I just wanted to make certain people had that understanding.
Thank you, Councilmember McCoy. Councilmember Oliver, did you have your hand raised again?
Yes, lastly, I just wanted to state that I know Councilwoman McCoy had been working on that for some time, so I'm glad she had jumped in. I didn't get a chance to mention that. Councilman McCoy have been working with the administration for some time on that. And kudos to you, Councilman McCoy. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a few more council members. Council member Fields.
Thank you, Council President. I wanted to ask my colleague, Council Member McCoy, a question. Does that have to do anything with the CARES Act or the APR? I'm at the rescue fund. You know, since this was in a discussion a while ago, like where is that coming from? If you don't mind answering that question for me.
Mr. President, I didn't know whether or not this is something that you wanted to get into discussion with.
Yes, can we take that conversation offline, if you don't mind, Councilman?
Okay, the only reason why I brought it up because it was brought up that's where the money was coming from. So I wanted to get clarification, but I understand, Councilwoman McCoy, we can definitely take it offline. You can definitely email me about it, but I just wanted to make it clear for the public. I just wanted to know, because things are being thrown out there. And if I'm not clear as a council person for my district, I wanted to, I'll just relate, once I get that response, I'll relate it to my constituents that has those questions, because West Center City and 5th District, they do ask those questions. So thank you very much, Council President. I'll hold.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Fields. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, Council President, thank you. I would just like to say to the public that's listening, if you have questions about information that is being communicated, please just reach out to your council person. Please reach out to your council person, because there's work going on in the pipelines. And if individuals do not ask the right questions to the right people, then it will be assumed. A lot of assumptions are being made. So as much as we can, we try to address what is appropriate during these particular meetings. But I'm asking you, reach out to your council representative if you have questions regarding the water or housing or any of the topics that are being discussed, because there is information, there's work going on. But if people don't communicate, don't ask the questions, then there will be misinformation communicated. And I also want to say that the city of Wilmington is just like a household. You have money coming in, you have revenue coming in, and you have expenses to go out. We as a city do not have a whole lot of revenue, overhead revenue coming in to pay our bills. So we rely on wage taxes, we rely on property taxes, and we work with our partners within the city to work with us to be able to have a thriving city and to have a budget where we can pay our bills. We need to pay our bills. So we have to work in a way that's fiscal, in a way that is equitable as it relates to how we balance out what how we have to raise taxes and how we have to do our budgeting and our financing to have a healthy city. Somebody has to pay the bills. We got to get the money from somewhere. So let's keep that in mind as we think about the budget. The money has to come from somewhere. We're a city. We don't get the money that the governor gets, and we don't get the money that the federal government gets either. So we have to do what we have to do with what we have. So reach out to your council representative if you're not sure about some of the information that's being communicated. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Harley. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Present.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field, Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dixon,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Walsh.
Yes.
And can I just ask for Councilman Fields to repeat his Ms. Bo, please. Councilman Field?
Yes.
Thank you very much. President Congo?
Yes.
12 yeas and 1 present.
Declared adopted. Thank you.
I believe that's all the items I have tonight, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson.
Council President,
Yes, Councilmember Walsh.
permission to leave, please.
Yes, you
Thank
have
you.
permission also, Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you, Council President. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
President,
Councilmember Dixon.
Council.
Yes, Mr. President. I have nothing this evening.
Councilmember, oh, that's it. Councilmember Oliver, did you have a question?
Yes, I was asking, could I be excused, please?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
This time we'll go to petitions and communications, starting with Councilwoman Dixon.
I have nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera.
Hi, Council President. I just want to say that encouraging people to get your COVID vaccines. I got mine last Saturday, and in 3 weeks when I have to get my second vaccine, hope to have a very public event. The lieutenant governor is the one who shot me in the arm, of course. And it wasn't a bad experience at all. I was asking when I was gonna, when I would feel the needle, and it was done. And I didn't even feel it. So if anybody's on the fence, if people are still hesitant about getting the vaccine, please get the vaccine. Help. If you don't do it for yourself, do it for your family, your friends, and your colleagues. The needle was so small, you didn't even feel it going in. So in 3 weeks, I hope to encourage the community to come out, trying to really promote this among the Latino community, since only 24.2% of that population has been vaccinated. And now your children can get vaccinated from ages 12 and above. So again, tomorrow, the 21st, the mask mandates are being lifted for people who are vaccinated. I know that a lot of people who are not are going to pretend that they are and not wear their masks. So get the vaccine. Please be careful what you do. We do not want to see another surge. We do not want to see things shut down again. Our economy is trying to come back. These businesses that have suffered, do it for your loved ones, because now we're just going to have a spread if you're going to pretend that you got your vaccine. So that is what I want to focus on this evening, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cabrera. Councilman Field.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Johnson.
Yes, I do have a few announcements now that we do have an operating budget for fiscal year 22. There's never a dull moment or a time to rest for council. We're hard at work, so we do have a special finance committee meeting coming up on this Tuesday, May 25th, regarding the American Rescue Plan funds. We have a presentation by the administration to discuss what the initial rollout would be, how we're going to go about this process in terms of making inventory of where the investment should go. So please tune in. This is a kind of one-shot opportunity, and so we all need to be involved, and also the community involved in this ARPA rollout. Just so there are local things and going on the west side, there is a yard sale coming up in the Union Park Gardens neighborhood off Lancaster Avenue. It is from 9 to 1 p.m. It's very typically they're over at Zion Church, but now it's across the street. So please come out if you're in the west side and you're interested in trying to sell your goods, because there is also there's going to be a city special pickup that following Monday if some items aren't sold. And the only other thing is Will Mapco has kicked off the public listening comments for the Build a Better Union Street. The first listening session was yesterday evening. I think some city council members were on there. I was on there. It was over 100 people involved in that meeting, and the next one hopefully going to be in person. So please come out. Go to willmapco.org to find out more, or westsidegrowth.org, and you can do surveys and give your input about how we can make Union Street better and just friendlier for all of our neighbors. This time, that's all I have, Council President. And if I may be permitted to be excused, I have to run.
If we can have a total number of council members from the city clerk, please, if he's excused, will we still be in quorum? We have enough for quorum?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, Councilman Johnson may be excused. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Councilwoman McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to say thank you to the constituents of the 6th District that participated in the Making Union Street Better last night. Thank you very much. That is a meeting that I didn't get a chance to go to that second meeting, but went to the first and do plan to follow up. This is something that we have been discussing pretty much since the restriping of Union Street, and I would love to see what the residents come up with. Also, thank you again for those who participated in the Community Project Day. Some places call it Community Cleanup Day, but I call it Community Project Day because it's easier to get people to come out and do a project. For me, it is anyway. So I thank you so much, and I hope this won't be the last one, that we can just find other projects to do to beautify our area, to beautify our city. And just one last thing, I have a quote. I said, my quote is from the Rolling Stones. You can't always get what you want. Sometimes you get what you need. And I have been advocating, and I brought pretty much a laundry list to the administration on the things that I really wanted to see. And even though I did not get everything, I got some things of consequence. And I have to say that this is my first time voting for a budget. So I just wanted to make certain that people were aware. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman McCoy. I didn't know that. Councilwoman Fields.
Thank you, Council President. Yes, I do have some items I would like to speak about tonight. Okay, so through the Word Church food box giveaway, we're asking everybody to wear a mask. It's going to be at the Tilton Park. Some people call it 8th Street Park. It's going to be in Wilmington. Of course, it's going to be on Saturday, May the 22nd from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Free boxes of groceries will be given out. Also, they will have some different vendors there giving out information about mental health and about COVID vaccines. Also, later on that day, there will be a clothing and toiletry giveaway at 700 West 4th Street next to the McDonald's. It's the park, right? The McDonald's park. It's going to be right there. It's going to be Saturday, May 22nd at 2 p.m. And they'll be distributing clothes, shoes, and toiletries. Items are also going to be available for infants, toddlers, boys, girls, men, and women. And I also have a quote for today. As you know, usually I try to have a quote or something. And Councilwoman McCoy, I loved your quote because you're absolutely right. Same thing happened to me. But the quote I'm going to say is, success in life comes when you simply refuse to give up. With goals so strong that obstacles, failure, and loss only act as motivation. And that was anonymous. Other than that, Council President, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Fields. Councilwoman Harley.
Yes, thank you, Council President. First of all, I want to announce not only to the 4th District, but to all Wilmingtonians that the Porter State Service Center on 8th and I believe it's Wollaston Street will be administering the COVID vaccination shots. So that is a location where individuals can go, call, make an appointment to get your COVID vaccination shots. I'm very happy about the fact that we do have a location in the heart of our city where brown and Black people live. And as we know, based on the data that our communities have been the numbers have been very low as it relates to getting the shot. So I'm happy to know that the Public Health Department has made a quality decision to have those shots to be administered there. I want to thank the East Side Civic Association, Southbridge, and Trinity Vicinity. I made sure that they knew about the Community Cleanup Day. I want to thank the administration because they definitely gave out a lot of tools and a lot of supplies. They gave out a lot of supplies. A number of my civic presidents reached out to the administration. I guess it's the Constituent Services Department, to get supplies. They were able to get them, and the communities look very, 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 very nice. So I want to thank the presidents of Southbridge, Eastside, and Trinity Vicinity. Those are the communities that I'm aware of that participated. And lastly, I want to say to the council body, I really do feel that we spent a lot of time working on this budget. I know that we all had different point of views and on what we wanted to change and what things should look like and how things should be going forward. However, I think that at the end of the day, what we proposed was more fair, more equitable, and I do believe that.
Councilmember Harley,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We're not supposed to reflect on current legislation during this time.
Current legislation?
We're not supposed to talk about what was on the agenda.
Oh, no, it's voted on now, but okay, but I'm complimenting everyone on doing a great job, not anything specific. So thank you to my council.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Oliver.
She actually dismissed.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Councilmember Darby.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I have two things. So I am partnering with Warner and Shortledge. There are two schools in the 2nd District on revamping their mentorship program. They're really looking to get more Black men and or people who can actually connect with the children in our community and who attend the school. So if you are interested in being a mentor, please reach out to me. You can visit the council website. Click on the link to send me an email. Let me know that you are interested. I would really greatly appreciate that. We're trying to get it rolling out. So with the school year, they're full blown opening up. So this is going to be an experience. And just working with Warner and Shortledge on how that would look and how I can support them during this time. And then the second announcement I have is that I have scheduled or already did a walkthrough of North Market Street. We are going to put pressure on and think about, as a 2nd District, what we want in on North Market Street, because we have not gotten any money for development on this side of town. So we need to start putting pressure and start talking about what we want on North Market Street in the 2nd District and how we want that to look. So reach out to me if you're interested in that conversation about development on North Market Street and making sure that all parts of Wilmington gets invested in. Thank you.
I thank you, Councilwoman Darby. Councilwoman Gray.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to announce to people that on June 2nd, there will be an intergovernmental committee meeting. And at that meeting, we're going to have magistrate court to discuss the landlord-tenant eviction process or lack of evictions. But I think it'll be really interesting to know just what the court is doing to help people work through the eviction process or work through keeping their apartment. So join us at 5 o'clock on June 2nd, Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gray. I just have one announcement. The City of Wilmington presents its Terry Hill Power Contest. That's going to be on this Saturday, May the 22nd, from 2 to 5 p.m. It's going to take place at the Helen Chambers basketball court right on Madison Street on 5th and Madison. The events are going to be the squats, deadlifts, bench press, push-ups, pull-ups, and dips. There are 3 weight categories, also categories for divisions for male and female. Awards will be given to first, second, and third place. And all participants will receive a participation medal. For more information, or to pre-register, you can go to cdwallace@wilmingtondE.gov. Walk-up registration is from 12:30 to 1:45. Again, that is this Saturday at the Helen Chambers Park. There is a power contest. All right. And with that, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you to staff and to WITN. Thank you to my council colleagues for making it through this budget process. And I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Aye.
Have a good
Bye.
Great job.